Thank you, Matt, and thank you all for allowing us to be here. And I'd just like to congratulate Case and Greg Dees. You all are pioneers in social entrepreneurship, and congratulations on having this conference here and all that you've accomplished in social entrepreneurship. And also a shout out to Durham, which is, as Matt said, doing an absolutely fantastic job of creating a vital community here in the Triangle, which is such a great help to all of us who work here. I'm Holden Thorp, and I'm the Chancellor of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. This is Buck Goldstein. He is our entrepreneur in residence. Buck spent his career as an entrepreneur, but now he spends time with college professors and students helping us figure out how we can do a better job of solving the world's biggest problems.
And Holden is, as you know, a chemistry professor. You may not know, he's also an entrepreneur. And as some of you know, he's an ardent user of Twitter, and a couple of his tweets have actually gone viral. And they know what we're talking about. We're here today, the two of us, to talk to you about how your universities can have a greater impact on the world's biggest problems.
And there's no shortage of problems to work on. I had an up-close look at one of the problems that I think we'd all agree is one of the biggest challenges facing the world, HIV. When I went to Malawi to see Carolina's work there. Malawi is a landlocked African country, 8,000 miles from Chapel Hill. That means it's only 7,992 miles from Durham. And it's a place where the adult population, 12% of the adult population has HIV. But 20 years ago, when Carolina scientists first went there, 30% of the adult population had HIV. Now, 32 Carolina faculty from 8 different disciplines work in Malawi, and students and doctors and scientists partner with folks from Malawi there to address HIV, which is one of the world's great problems, and we'll be telling you more about what they're doing there in a few minutes.
So HIV is one of a horde of vexing global problems, and you can take your pick: poverty or hunger or drought, climate change, human rights atrocities. They're all important, and they're all difficult.
And these problems, as you've heard quite a lot today, aren't self-contained. They can't be solved by people from just one department or discipline, and they require people with different ideas and viewpoints to come together at the table in order to figure out what we can do to address these problems. And that's why, as has also been said today, inclusion is an incredibly important part of all of this. We cannot succeed at addressing these kinds of problems if we exclude people who have great ideas.
I was walking across campus, I think last week or the week before, and one of our most distinguished scientists stopped me, and the conversation we had kind of summed it up. He said, you know, if everybody around the table has the same background, we just aren't going to get good answers to big problems. He said, but if we have a diverse group of people from different disciplines and different points of view, and then with a lot of passion, he said, we have a real shot at developing really new approaches to, and really, really great solutions.
So let's take energy. We need to learn to live without fossil fuel. To do that, we're going to need nuclear power, wind power, solar power, and some other things that we haven't invented yet. If we want to get more energy from solar power, we need chemists who know how to make materials that can capture the sun's energy. We need biologists who know how plants work. We need engineers who know how to make devices that can bring all these things together. And we need people who understand the social implications, because it's not just enough to invent these things. We need to actually figure out how to use them.
And the one place you can find all those people with the expertise and the desire, the true desire to solve these big, complex problems, is a research university. It's where you find scientists and doctors and humanists, historians, artists, all working together to produce knowledge and to inspire students to do great things. Now, here's something pretty interesting. Universities have quite a long runway. Of the 80 institutions that existed in 1550 and still exist today, including the British Parliament and the Catholic Church, 70 of the 80 are research universities. So they've been around a long time, and they're going to be around a long time. Moreover, just in this country alone, if you look at research universities, they have a combined endowment of $250 billion.
So let's go back to Malawi. The first two UNC scientists who went there wanted to study a very specific question, which is how can you prevent HIV from being transmitted from an infected mother to her baby when the baby is born. And to do that, they realized they needed a clinic. And this is the Kamuzu Central Hospital in Lilongwe, Malawi, where, as I said, we have 32 Carolina faculty from 8 disciplines working. We have students going there to do research and service projects. We partner with the Malawi College of Medicine to teach pediatrics, epidemiology, and HIV care. And most importantly, we have 300 people working there, and almost all of them are from Malawi.
It's a great example of what universities can do. Find the resources, most importantly, make a long-term commitment, bring people together from multiple disciplines, all focused on a problem, the solution to which can make a real difference in the world. But the big question is, and I know you all are thinking about this, how can a big institution like a research university make this happen again and again? We think it boils down to 3 basic concepts. First, broaden the definition of entrepreneurship.
A lot of people talk about entrepreneurship in the context of business and economics and creating jobs in the private sector. But we think that definition needs to broaden, just as all of you do if you're here at this conference. It needs to focus on solving the world's biggest problems and on social entrepreneurship. And for me, my thinking and our thinking together as we started working on this was influenced dramatically by Bill Drayton, who is, I think will be here at your conference later on in the weekend. Bill came to Carolina to talk about entrepreneurship, and when he talked about it, he wasn't just talking about creating jobs, he was talking about social entrepreneurship and solving great problems and changing the world. And for us, that was a major point in our thinking that we have done on this the last several years. And I almost didn't go to Bill's talk, but Buck forced me to be there. And I'm really glad he did, because when I went to that talk, I realized that this whole topic of entrepreneurship in universities wasn't just about creating more private sector jobs.
Bill explained that the line between for-profit and non-profit was getting pretty blurry, and that frankly, it didn't much make a difference in terms of the ultimate outcome, whether something was for-profit or non-profit. Things were organized that way for other reasons, including the ability to attract capital and other external reasons. What he did say, however, is that organizations, what was really important was sustainability. That means focusing both on the top line and the bottom line. And his question was, how can organizations truly become sustainable, and in some cases, make a profit that can actually sustain the organization itself, be a profit-making organization and a change maker.
And what was obvious from Bill's talk is that in order to do this, we were going to have to get lots of different kinds of people to come together, and they were going to have to be from both inside and outside the university.
Which actually leads to our second point, which is open the tent. Open the tent and look beyond the university's walls and invite people inside the tent who are from all kinds of points of view and from all walks, elements of life, including entrepreneurs like myself. What we're really talking about is expanding the conversation and inviting these people to join the conversation that's been going on among academics for many, many years.
And we know, those of us who worked in private sector entrepreneurship in universities know that the chances that a faculty member or a staff member or a student will start a commercial venture is enhanced dramatically if that person knows a venture capitalist or someone who has started a venture-backed company. So we know that academics, if they spend time with someone who has applied knowledge and skills, the chance that they'll try something outside the university and succeed it is greatly enhanced. And we also know that it's not a one-way relationship, and as you broaden this to include social entrepreneurship, you see that the people from outside the university help the academics know what kinds of questions to more productively ask in their basic research, and the practicing artists and the social entrepreneurs and the commercial entrepreneurs and the scientific entrepreneurs who are talking with the academics carry that message outside the university walls, and that accelerates the timeline for which all of these innovations can make an impact.
But as we're doing this, we're finding out something else, that a very subtle change is taking place. As the doors open, believe it or not, the culture starts to change. Different voices are heard, and different ways of thinking begin to take shape. Right now, at UNC, for example, we have academics in the humanities which is obviously not a place that's traditionally a home for entrepreneurial thinking or entrepreneurship. These academics are beginning to examine how to increase the impact of what they're doing, and they're incorporating entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial thinking in their work.
Our third point is that we need to teach entrepreneurial thinking throughout the curriculum, and not just in the business school.
When we first started talking about this at Carolina, Holden was teaching a group of scientists, or budding scientists, some things about entrepreneurship. And he convinced us all that what was really important was that chemists become chemists, that biologists actually get trained as biologists, and that English majors actually study English, while at the same time picking up some entrepreneurial skills. So what we did was, instead of setting up a major in entrepreneurship, we created a minor in entrepreneurship. And we never aspire for that minor to be anything else but a minor, so that people can still stick with their major course of study. And in this way, we allow people to learn a little bit about what it's like to control their own destiny and run an organization, whether it's a business venture or a social venture. So we've got students from 32 different disciplines all coming together to learn about how to take an idea and turn it into a reality.
Now, not every student is going to go out and start a company or a social venture, but they do learn something about risk and how much of it they can tolerate. My first company went bankrupt, and so when I tell students about that it helps them think a lot about how they can solve all kinds of different challenges.
And some of the students hear that story from Holden, and the blood drains out of their face, and they quietly stand up, and they go find another course. And they quickly find out that entrepreneurship is not for them. On the other hand, it's an inspiration for people to understand that the top guy's company went bankrupt, and they can make a mistake too, and that failure is part of the game. And you live to fight another day. So ultimately, we believe you really can teach entrepreneurship. It's not for everybody, but it has an important role in higher education.
And these three concepts, broadening the definition of entrepreneurship to include social entrepreneurship, opening the tent to people from outside the university who are entrepreneurs, and teaching entrepreneurship throughout the curriculum, we think these three things can help universities unlock their potential and do a better job at addressing the world's greatest problems. And we're excited that we're not the only ones saying this, because this weekend in his weekly address, President Obama said, "The truth is, we have everything we need to compete. Bold entrepreneurs, bright new ideas, and world-class colleges and universities. And most of all, we have young people just brimming with promise and ready to help us succeed. All we have to do is tap the potential." And we think we can tap the potential by creating an environment where, in a culture that embraces risk-taking and innovation, by recruiting the best people who want to be in that environment and letting them go.
So Holden, let's go back to Malawi. How has the work there actually impacted the transmission of, or reduced the transmission of AIDS?
Well, as it turns out, the challenges in Malawi were not just technical. It didn't take our scientists long to figure out that if expectant mothers started taking their antiretroviral drugs 6 weeks before the baby was born, that they could reduce the chance that the baby would be born with HIV to almost zero. But there were many cultural and social factors that made it hard to do that. Lots of folks in Malawi don't trust the medical system, and they may not want to tell their families that they have HIV. So our colleagues turned to something that gets turned to often in global health, to music. And they created songs that are famous Malawian folk songs but the lyrics have been changed to things like, remember to get yourself tested and bring your husband in. Bring your husband in to get tested. And let's fight the virus so that we can keep our nation strong. And I recorded all this on my phone.
So that's the sound of people working together to attack one of the world's great problems.
Our challenge to you is to take the resources that you have at the nation's great research universities, find the people that can help you, and focus on the problems like the ones in Malawi.